We've gotten a budget since the fall of 2013.
And what kind of money are we talking about?
So the fiscal year 17 just started, and we were granted just over $70,000 for the year.
$70,000.
Yeah.
For a student group of atheists, agnostics, freethinkers, skeptics, humanists, whatever. And that's going to be a hell of a party, right? I mean...
Yeah, a lot of that was due to mandatory raises because we are able to pay some officers hourly, and that increase of money is a lot due to that. But, the money is so helpful for being able to buy posters and reserve space to host speakers and to pay for speakers' airfare and that sort of thing, to really show students that secularism is around. It is worth something. Not just religious student orgs should be able to get money. We too, have something to show. And I think that's why, getting that money is so important so that we can stay competitive with the other religious student orgs on campus who are also getting money.
Absolutely. And I guess, as long as the money is handed out in some reasonably fair way, I don't mind, but I'm just wondering if I have listeners who are students at other universities around the United States or even around the world, which may not directly apply to this conversation, but that they don't have access to this kind of money.
Yeah, we're definitely very privileged to go to a university that has this, program within it. And we don't take that lightly. So we try to use that money as efficiently and as best as we can. Last year we were able to bring in James Randi as a speaker to Free Thought Fest 5. And it not only showed, students that went, like how awesome that this guy can try to disprove pseudoscience, right? But it also showed, we have secular speakers, not just, other leaders of religious groups that can be, mainstream and popular too.
Fantastic. Now, have you guys ever had any debates on campus?
Yes, we have. We like to do a yearly debate, again, with Badger Catholic. We have a really good relationship with them. The leaders of their organization are generally really awesome and open-minded and willing to talk with us and compromise and all of that good stuff. So last year we had a debate with them, and it went really well. We hugged afterwards, and everybody was impressed with how civil it was. So it was a great success.
Well, that's great. Now, I know that totally different topic for just a second because it popped into my head, so forgive me. Madison, Wisconsin, of course, is considered to be a very liberal city. Does that seem right?
Yeah.
And universities in general are more liberal than the average. What percentage of the student body do you think might vote for Trump?
Oh, gosh. Honestly, that is pretty hush-hush lately on campus, just because, it's intimidating to have such a vastly different opinion than the majority when you're in, a very liberal college town.
Right.
So honestly, I wouldn't be able to give, a percentage or a number on that. But I do think that people who, may be leaning towards doing that, aren't necessarily going to be vocal about it just because the backlash from saying that they are going to vote for Trump could be not very pleasant.
Well, you have now made a very large part of my audience very jealous. Because not everybody lives in an environment where you don't mention Trump because it's going to be awkward for you. So that's good to hear. And Madison is one of those cities. I have a way that I can very easily calculate how liberal a city is. And what I do is I count the number of Priuses. And You've seen you've seen a few in town?
I mean, there's quite a few of
Yeah.
Priuses here.
Yeah, when I lived in Arkansas for a couple of years, people would come up to me and be like, "What is that thing?" So in Madison or like in Champaign-Urbana, they're everywhere all the time. So it's a quick and easy way for me to get an idea. So what else does the group have planned this year?
So this year, let's see. So we have a semesterly free thought speaker series that we host, where we just bring in one speaker and they give about 45 minutes to an hour talk, and we host them on campus. We have a few ideas that we've been in contact with, but I'm not ready to disclose any names on those. But that'll be in November and then sometime in late spring as well.
Fantastic. Now, if there's happens to be a student that is in Madison that's not at the university, maybe they're in a high school or nearby community college or something, can they come to these events too?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a lot of advertising. We always obviously put them in our email and advertise on Facebook and other social media platforms. But lately, at least this past spring semester, we have experimented with advertising on the Madison bus system.
Right.
So we've put some advertisements up in buses. So, if students who may not be university students, but are going to, Madison area technical college, or they're going to high school, or even if they're just community member, if they see the advertisement or even hear about it through a friend, they're definitely welcome to come.
And where can they find this information? What's the best way? You got a Facebook? You got a website?
Yeah, our website is ahauwmadison.org.
Now, if someone is running a student organization in another college, university, somewhere in the United States, and they have questions, would it be okay for them to contact you?
Yeah, definitely. We have an email for any AHA-related questions.
Sure.
It's just WISC, WISC, atheists@gmail.com.
That sounds fantastic. And if a group is struggling and can't really seem to get enough members or can't organize events, do you have any brilliant ideas of what they can do or how they can learn more?
Oh, about our events?
Well, about yours or just in general, how does a group get to be big? How does it draw in members? What works?
Yeah. So honestly, the Secular Student Alliance has a lot to do with our success. I actually started my freshman year at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, and we had a really small secular group, and it wasn't even affiliated with the SSA, Secular Student Alliance, until quite later in my second semester there. But once we did become affiliated, we had so many resources and so many mentors and people to talk to through the Secular Student Alliance that it really did help us develop. And then I did transfer to Madison, and now we've been affiliated with the Secular Student Alliance for I don't even know how many years, at least 7, if not 10 years. And they help with tabling supplies, or if we have, a difficult member, they can help us, try to smooth things over, or if we need speaker resources, or if we need help planning an event, or we don't have any ideas for events. Their website and everybody that works for them is so awesome and helpful.
So I think that's an excellent idea. So if someone's listening and either is in a group that's not doing as much as you might like, or doesn't have the funds, or you want to start a group, contact the Secular Student Alliance. Just Google it. You'll find it. And if you haven't started a group, get a group starting guide and ask for help. And that's what they're there for. And I don't know if you knew this, that I was on the board for the SSA for many years.
Oh, awesome.
Yep, I was on twice for about 3 years and then another 2 years. So I know it, I love it, and that's why from time to time I like to have someone that can come on and talk about the success stories. And I was going to take a commercial break, but we were having so much fun I forgot that whole thing. So is there any other stuff that you'd like to share before we wrap up about your group or the SSA?
I guess I just kind of like want to say that it's way more about, the people that we reach out to and the people in our organization, and, the connections and memories we make than it is about, the programs and the money and anything like that. Like it's one thing to say, we host a festival, but honestly, it's meeting the people at the festival and it's talking to new people and figuring out, their story and how they got here and what made them interested in, becoming agnostic, even though maybe they were raised Muslim or something. I've made the best friends via secular groups that than I could like ever imagine. And it's because we share a common understanding and we can, freely talk about so much. And that's really my biggest takeaway from being involved in, the secular group in Eau Claire and here at UW-Madison with AHA is that the people in the organization are really inspiring.
So sometimes you might debate, you might argue, you might even put an ad about or against religion, but the social, the connectivity, knowing you're not alone is you're saying is a really big piece of it all.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many people, especially freshmen when they come to college, that may have been raised in a very strict religious home, and then they didn't even know that an atheist organization could exist, and then they can actually, express their true beliefs or lack thereof in our group, and it's so liberating, and you create these strong connections that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise.
Well, that is fantastic. And just in case my listeners don't know already, I created a special link where people can go to this SSA and donate, and it will show up as credit for the Phil Ferguson Show. And I am going to match up to $500. So if any of the listeners want to go there, I'll have that in the show notes that will usually show up on your podcast player, or you can go to the Facebook page when I put this show out. And maybe, Nicole, you can help share that, encourage people to donate to the SSA to help some other students somewhere else.
Absolutely, definitely, I will.
Great. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for showing up and telling us all about the awesomeness that your group is. And I really appreciate the work you're doing. And maybe, just maybe in the spring, I can meet you at the next Free Thought Festival. Yes, fingers crossed. Yay. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Yeah, no worries. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Here's an excerpt from Mum, Dad, I'm an Atheist by David G. McAfee.
It is the same highly regarded concept of an afterlife that allows misguided religious people to justify the mistreatment of those who disagree with their religious ideologies. They are simply trying to protect you from eternal damnation in the afterlife by condemning you, insulting you, and even disowning you in this life. It is not to say that becoming open about your disbelief is always going to be met with these negative reactions, and, in fact, that is precisely what this work is hoping to prevent. But it is important to understand that if you experience negative reactions from religious kin, it is probably a result from the religion's teachings, and likely not from any personal vendetta or hatred.
Mom, Dad, I'm an Atheist by David G. McAfee is now available at atheistaudiobooks.com.
You're listening to The Phil Ferguson Show on Secular Media Network.
So hopefully everybody enjoyed the interview. And like I've said multiple times in this show, please go donate to the Secular Student Alliance. I will have a link on my Facebook page and the Phil Ferguson Show Facebook page, which, of course, you can always go and like. And that is one of the first places you can find information about the show or some personal topics. One of the other things that I often ask people to do, and I haven't checked on this lately, at iTunes, you can give a review. And, of course, I would love a 5-star review. I'm sure other platforms allow that, too. So if you see a good review there somewhere, let me know. But I'm just going to get a couple of the older ones here about a month ago from iTunes. And there's more than more than I want to read today. So I'm just going to get a couple of the quick ones here. Back in early July, I have no idea what this name is. It's like Quizach Herderach. So sorry if I slaughtered. I don't know how to pronounce it. Great idea for a show. this guy is out there doing what he is passionate about, and it shows. In addition, he is a genuinely helpful guy. Well, that